Is it streaming? Okay, it's on YouTube. Oh, it's on Twitch. I mean, let's check YouTube. Okay, it's live on YouTube as well. Nice, let's get into it. Today, I think, is the last episode of the series. So, on the weekend, I'll see what I want the next series to be. I might continue with Unity. I might do a C# project. I'll have to see. There are a number of things I want to try. We'll see what I decide over the weekend. For now, today's goal is to be done with the series and also fix up any errors or like any other improvements to the code that can be done. Okay, let's get into the video.
For every fragment being equal to 1. Well, we do have one exception, and that's the billboard we use for the point light object. Hey everyone. So far, up until now, everything we've rendered has been a solid and completely opaque object. This means that none of the incoming light is allowed to pass through. This corresponds to the alpha component for every fragment being equal to 1. Well, we do have one exception, and that's the billboard we use for the point light objects. In the case a fragment falls outside the light's radius, we discard it. This is mostly equivalent to having an alpha value of 0. But what about all the other possible values in between 0 and 1? Conceptually, the alpha component says what percentage of the color to contribute to the final image. So, for example, if we wanted to add a blue tinted window to the scene that lets 3/4 of the light behind it pass through, then it should be as simple as rendering a quad with its alpha component set to 1/4. The final fragment color should be 25% the color of the window. All the other possible values in between 0 and 1. Conceptually, the alpha component says what percentage of the color to contribute to the final image. So, for example, if we wanted to add a blue tinted window to the scene that lets 3/4 of the light behind it pass through, then it should be as simple as rendering a quad with its alpha component set to 1/4. The final fragment color should be 25% the color of the window, plus 1 minus 25% the color of whatever is behind the window. The graphics pipeline also already provides a fixed function step to do this for us. If you recall way back to tutorial 4, the final stage of the graphics pipeline is the color blending stage. This occurs automatically following the fragment shader
Color blending
and is even configurable. It can mix the previous and incoming color to produce a new mixed value, or it can combine the previous and incoming value using a bitwise operation. So far, this should all sound very straightforward, and you may be wondering why we just didn't enable color blending from the very start. And that's because there's one pretty significant gotcha when working with transparency. The order in which we render semi-transparent objects actually matters. The reason for this can be a bit counterintuitive, especially if you spend any time using art editing software where an image is broken up into a sequence of layers. When working with layers, partial transparency isn't an issue because we know the alpha component for each pixel at each layer, and there's a well-defined ordering of layers from front to back. But this is the wrong mental model to have for our pipeline-based rendering. Let's jump back to tutorial 4 for a quick review. Previously, I compared depth values to being like the layers in an image editing program, but this analogy isn't exactly true. A depth buffer doesn't keep track of individual layers, but only the depth value to whatever fragment is currently on top for each pixel. For example, let's say so far we have rendered some mountains and our color buffer looks like this. Then the matching depth buffer would look something like this, where light shades are far away and darker shades correspond
so it's all combined into one, so it doesn't know which is further and which is back.
to a fragment being closer. Now, if we wanted to draw a cloud, what would happen is that for each pixel of the cloud, we check its depth against the current values in the depth buffer. We only update the color and depth buffers for pixels where the cloud is the closest fragment. So in this case, if our cloud had a depth of around 0.8, then it is less than the sky's value, but greater than the mountains. Any of the cloud's fragments behind the mountains are simply discarded. So, how does this relate to semi-transparent objects? Well, the depth buffer can store only one depth value per pixel, and doesn't care about how transparent an object is. If the window is rendered before the base object behind it, then the depth buffer will be storing the window's depth, which is closer to the camera. Therefore, the base fragments will get discarded. A simple solution is to first render all the solid objects in the scene, followed by every semi-transparent object. However, even this solution isn't perfect and breaks down when multiple semi-transparent objects overlap. You can work around this by first sorting each semi-transparent object by its distance from the camera, and then rendering in the order from back to front. What about if the camera moves, or a model moves? Sorting every object by distances every frame can require a lot of computation, and even that will break down in certain scenarios. It's possible to overlap 3 triangles such that from the perspective of the camera,
This is one of the reasons why Nyanat has so much trouble with rendering. Hopefully, I know they've come out with some voxel thing. I wonder if they'll come up with an even better solution in the future.
properly ordering them becomes impossible, and we need to order per fragment. So unfortunately, there isn't an easy solution that handles every case. There do exist a class of techniques known as order-independent transparency that solves this complicated problem, but all of which have prerequisite topics we would need to cover first. So I guess that's it. Thank you for watching, and, well, not quite. I would still like to demonstrate blending, and if the only semi-transparent objects in the scene are the point lights, then this is a simple case we can make work. Point lights are billboards and always face the camera. Therefore, we avoid the case where triangles can overlap, and we do not need to sort individual vertices. The only thing that will affect the ordering is the position of the point light. Okay, so let's get to coding. First, we will need to render all the solid objects in the scene. So in the first app implementation file's run function, make sure your simple render system
Okay, let's Let me double check that I've saved everything. Yes. Okay, first app CPP. Let's close everything else. We can reopen it again when it's required. Render. / order. And
Game objects function is being called before the point light system's render function. Typically, when rendering any semi-transparent objects, you will want to first
render order.
parent objects. Next, we're going to head over to the pipeline header to
I guess it's like render passes. I guess.
add a helper function to enable alpha blending. First, though, if you haven't yet
Maybe pipeline. Which we pay. Yeah.
in the pipeline config info struct, we really should be setting
Okay, that has
the
already
constructor
been
function equal to the default. This is because whenever you edit any of the copy or move constructors, you should also explicitly default or implement the constructor. Not doing so can cause errors when using other compilers. Now, just below the default pipeline config info, we will add a second static void function called enable alpha blending.
Static void enable alpha blending. Let me just quickly change one setting. I think whenever I go into performance mode, there's an overclock on my computer. Let me just disable that so that things are more stable here. All settings. I think I disabled it previously. Let me just double check. Boom. Current charge, not this, rapid charge. System update, hard disk and utilities. Oh. Yet under the gaming icon. Yeah. Yeah, the overclock is on. Let's disable that. Okay. I've disabled the overclock. Hopefully things are more stable now and won't accidentally crash like last time.
That will also take a pipeline config info reference called pipeline. This will be a helper function to easily
Control-C, Control-V.
Then, at the bottom of our pipeline implementation file, we can add the implementation
Pipeline implementation file. Void and pipeline enable alpha blending. Yeah.
setting the necessary fields for the color blend attachment in the default function above. So scroll up and copy that chunk of code and paste it into your
Color blend attachment. Yeah. I'll copy all of this just in case. Delete.
enable alpha blending. We need to change a few of the fields here.
Let's delete all of this.
You may be wondering
Color blend enable. VK2.
This is true for all pipelines, and that's because there is a performance cost to having it enabled. We need to perform the blending operations. The color right mask can remain unchanged since we want to write the RGB and A components. The next 6 fields correspond to variables in this equation and determine how exactly RGB values and alpha values are combined. The source is the current value being output from the fragment shader. So in our case, we call it the out color.
Does this have to be put at the top? I don't think so.
The destination is whatever values exist at that fragment in our color attachment. So before we've rendered anything, this will be equal to whatever we've set the clear value of our render pass. So in our case, when writing a color,
let's copy it and move it up.
component as the source blend factor, and 1 minus the source alpha as how much the existing value in the color attachment contributes.
aka blend factor source alpha.
Semi-transparent object.
One. Okay. 1 minus source alpha. Minus source alpha. Okay.
Should be vk blend op add since we want to add these values together. And the last 3 fields for alpha blending don't actually matter for our purposes here since we don't check what the destination alpha is at any point. So I've left the alpha blend fields just with their current values. You may want to change these in the future though, depending on what you're doing exactly. Okay, now
delete.
across the point light system. Head over
Control S. Is it point light system? Is there a way to just open the implementation directly? Yeah, let's.
create pipeline function. After we've set the pipeline config to default, we can then
It's on the CPP. Let's go
on what
back.
you're doing exactly. Okay, now moving on. Let's enable alpha blending for just the point light system. Head over to its implementation file, and in its create pipeline function,
Create pipeline.
after we've set the pipeline config to default, we can then enable blending using the helper function we just created.
Only pipeline. Enable alpha blending pipeline config.
Running our code is to make use of the alpha component in our point light fragment shader in a non-trivial way. Currently, we always output the value of
Point light fragment shift.
approaches 0 as the distance from the center of the point light approaches 1. The cosine function can be a nice function for this since it's continuous with 0 slope at its max and minimum. We'll need the pi constant to properly map the domain, so I'll define a const float
No push const float insert m dash pi is 3.14.
1415926538, which is more than enough significant.
I think it's supposed to be equal to 3.1415926538.
Next, I'll set the alpha value to use 0.5 times cos of my distance times pi plus 1
0.5 times cos distance star pi insert
the cosine function. This will have the
plus 1.0. No, is there no formatting for GLSL?
cosine function to this. If we build and run, everything is looking pretty good, but there's actually a small problem. which to demonstrate I'll need to first disable the rotation of my lights.
Okay, let's run it first and see if everything is working. Okay, now the lights are all fuzzy towards the edges. Yeah.
Build and run again. If I move the camera so that the red light overlaps the white light, this looks just fine. But if we flip our orientation, we can see a clear problem occurs when the white light overlaps the red light. This is because, as I mentioned at the start of the video, ordering matters. In this case, the white light is being rendered first. But when the red light is rendered, the depth buffer signals to the red fragments that they are behind these semi-transparent fragments of the white light, so they get discarded. I know what you may be thinking, that if we just change how the blending operations are being performed, we should be able to make these things work, right? But no, changing the blend operations just result in other problems, and the only real solutions are to sort all semi-transparent objects and render from back to front, or to use a order-independent rendering technique, which isn't something we can do just yet. So we're going to do the former. We'll make sure that the draw call for each light is ordered by the light's distance from the camera. To start, let's add a helper.
Okay. Let's say camera inch ppp. Does this automatically add the const to all of this? No, it was there already, I guess.
Get its current position. This can be easily accomplished.
Get view const glm vec3 Anderson get position.
Also storing the inverse view matrix. The first three
Position const.
inverse view matrix correspond to the camera's position in world space. So we create a get.
Okay, glm vec3 inverse view matrix row 3 and yeah, semicolon.
The last column to a vec3 in order to remove the fourth component. Next, in the point light system, at the
function returns back const.
import the map header. We're going to use a map as a quick column to a vec3 in order to remove the fourth component. Next, in the point light system, at the top of the file, I'll import the map header. We're going to use a map as a quick and simple way to sort
Point light cpp. Should include std accept. Already have it. Map should include away.
below in the render function. As an initial step, we'll sort the lights. Create a map object.
Point light render update render here.
With a float as the map's key and a game object ID as the value.
Sort lights. std map float view.
Here will be the distance of the point light.
Away game object. Game object IDT and sorted map.
Each point light using the same method as below. Going through every game object and filtering out any game object that does not have the point light component.
Let's Control V.
To calculate the distance, we first get the camera's position and subtract the position of the point light.
Calculate distance. Auto offset. For frame info camera. Get position. Semicolon.
With itself, we get the length of the offset vector. Well, technically, we're getting
Position minus object dot transform or translation. Float less square.
but that's good enough for our purposes since we only really care about the ordering, and computing the square root would
Squared equals GLM dot offset sorted the square.
unnecessary calculations. We then add the game objects
OBJ dot get area.
below. Instead of iterating through every game object, we can iterate through the sorted map in reverse order, since we want to render the game objects from back to front. So to do this, we'll use a C++ iterator, going from rbegin to rend. We fetch the actual game objects by using the object ID from the sorted map to index into the unordered map of all game objects.
Yeah, right. Auto it equals sorted dot begin at not equal to sorted dot end. That's all begin. Plus plus it
Copyable. That's why we must do it this way, using the game object IDs, rather than copying the actual game object to the sorted map in the previous step.
yeah. Frame info dot game objects dot add dot it dot sorted second. Yeah.
We can remove this filtering step, as we know already that we only have point lights at this point now. We can build and run, and now regardless
Specify I'll apply all of these at the end.
the lights will be rendered in the correct order, so we will no longer see that artifact.
And let's system update. Okay, let's set play.
Overlaps the red. This wraps up the point light series of videos, and we'll be moving on to textures next, as I know that's a topic many of you have been waiting for. Feel free to experiment with how exactly you render the point light objects. One thing we haven't touched is adding some color variation. If we pull out our cosine function, we can also make use of it when determining each fragment's color. One effect I particularly like is simply adding the cosine term to the light's RGB color, which will make the center of each light white, and gradually transition to the actual light's color only near the edge.
Sweet Drops production rated with 4 viewers.
Now it's a message from Touch. How wishes with Sweet Drops reduction. Hello. How are you all doing? How come y'all are using just emojis? Where did this go? Yeah. I'm doing fine. I'm just about finishing my series on learning Vulkan. After that, I plan to try and figure out what these errors are. And that will be the end for my series of learning Vulkan. For now, at least. Maybe in the future, I'll pick it up again. But on Monday, I'm planning on starting a new series. I've yet to decide. I'm kind of considering either some like C sharp project, or I continue working on a Unity game template that I've been meaning to work on for a while. It had been put on pause to do this Vulkan project so that I could refamiliarize myself with C++. I haven't used it in a long time. So I haven't used it since 12th grade in school. I've done a little bit for Unreal Engine, but it's very annoying to use over there. It's annoying in general to use because of header files. Like, if you see, it's like just double the files for everything that you have to do. So it was quite annoying, especially compared to using the Unreal Engine blueprints. And a lot of my work that I do, like as my day job, is you need rapid prototyping. C++ is just not the space for it. My day work involves a lot of rapid prototyping and very tight deadlines for very small projects. C++ is helpful for like big projects that like you can take your time with. But for the games I work on, I typically have like a few days to work on it. So, yeah. And it's often like with Unreal Engine, it's like they keep want to like change things as well. So it's better to stick with blueprints for that. Maybe in the future, if I work on a bigger game, I'll experiment more with C++ and blueprints. But for now, I'll stick with this. Yeah, a lot of people haven't heard of Vulkan. Uh, have you heard of Unity or Unreal Engine? This is one of the tools that is used to make those game engines. So when I hit run, you'll be able to see over here. This is like a 3D game scene. So this is one of the backends. Vulkan is specifically for the like rendering, so creating the 3D world and all the objects and handling all of this. Uh, there are other tools to like create the user interface and things, but this is a very important technology for creating games. Yeah, I was learning it since I'm in the game development space. I thought it'll be handy to at least know how game engines are made. And so far, it has been pretty interesting. I've learned quite a lot, but I don't know how useful all of this will be uh, in like getting normal jobs. But at least now I have the option of applying for graphics, for like graphics development or whatever. For now, let's save all of this. He made a change over here. Let's see what is the change.
Like is simply adding the cosine term.
Float cos this equals this. Control C, Control V. And bracket. So, Sweet Drops Reduction, what are you up to? Are you busy at work and just putting this on in the background? Or is it just.
which will make the center of each light white and gradually transition to the
Oh, that's nice. I've been meaning to learn about music for a while now. It's just not on my main priority list yet. Ooh. Any handy tips you have about designing music for games? I haven't really gone down that route, but at some point I will have to. I'll also have to learn 2D art and 3D character creation. Can do normal 3D stuff, but I haven't delved into character creation yet. I've done a little bit and created a certain nightmare character. It's supposed to have fur and all, but at the time the technology wasn't there. Hey guys, this is a character. Yeah, so this was something I had made in the past. Sadly, I couldn't export the eyeballs into Houdini at that time. But now it seems the plugin allows for exports. This was supposed to be one of the puffles from Club Penguin. I don't know if you remember the series, but yeah. This is what it looked like without the fur. And sadly, adding fur animation is too difficult for my current computer. It lags so badly. Yeah, let me add back the rotating lights animation and hit play. Let's see, it's loading. Here we go. And now we have moving lights. Yeah, and the lights on the floor. Yeah, Blender kind of has support for it, but it can't do like complicated lights, complicated fur. I mean, and like for Puffle, you want it to be like furry, like sheep's wool. At least that's what I imagine it would be like. Uh, let's save all of this. Finish tutorial 27. Alpha blending, transparency, handling. Let's go through the comments of the video. I saw the tutorial series didn't get much attention. Sadly, this is from like 3 years ago and it hasn't been updated since. I really wish there were more videos about it. Especially since there were some things that were supposed to be explained later on, but didn't. So, like, there's this one particular script. Where is it here? Let's see, swaption here. There's this one file with a bunch of code in it that at like no point got properly explained, even though it was supposed to. Yet, is it this one or is it another one? Kind of forget. Is it the renderer? Yeah, it's this one. This is the one that didn't get fully explained. Saturn sleeping. At last to learn more about composing. Interesting. Let's see. Saturn sleeping. Oh, Saturn sleeping at last. From 9 years ago. What other genre is this? I don't know if I can play this or not. I won't play it too much. I'll listen to it afterwards. I just don't want any problems with YouTube. Let me skip around a bit actually. Oh, this is playing at 2 times speed. This sounds like one of those background songs for like a sad moment in a movie. These errors all there. Let's save everything before I forget. Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see someone like doing a ballroom dance at like a wedding scene or something. Let's push on this, save it. Now, are you recreating it one for one, or are you this thing, just like using it as reference? Let's see, it's all saved. Okay, now that I've finished the tutorial series, I'll be going through all the code and cleaning things up. Trying to recreate it one for one as best as I can. That's some pretty good practice. For me, I have some like music software. I have like FL Studio and stuff, but the problem is all the tutorials kind of assume you already know like the basics of like music theory and they're just teaching you the software. They don't really like go from beginner at music to like creating to like using the software and being an expert. They assume you already know how to make music with like instruments or like physical instruments and then go from there, which is quite annoying. But I wish if you know any series like that, I'd love to like save it at some point. Okay, now everything is saved correctly. Let me go through each of these one by one and clean them all up. Let me clear all of this. And go right from the top. Remove all unused directories. Save. Yeah. Save. Remove all unused. Yeah, this doesn't need these things. Let's hit play and check it out. Have to keep running it to make sure nothing else breaks. Don't want to have too many changes and then one random thing breaks. Okay, it's still running correctly. Nice. Which music software are you using? Are you using FL Studio or Musco or Audacity? I know FL Studio. Hmm. I really think the guitar would be more useful than learning the piano. I use Ableton. I remember Ableton had a tutorial. I checked it out during COVID, but like I left with more questions than it answered. Ableton Learn, I think that's what it was. Let's just go to Ableton website. Yeah. See, is there anything about Ableton that you like more than FL Studio, or did you just pick one and stuck with it? Ableton Live. Let's see. Ableton for the classroom, jobs, apprenticeships. Yeah, this was what I had done. They have this learning music, learning synths. I had done this course a long time ago. It was pretty nice, but like kind of had left me with some questions that some of my friends, and they just gave me even worse answers. I'll go back to it at some point. I like the UI more. Oh, interesting. Maybe I'll check it out. Let's see. I assume this also has like a free trial version, right? Or is it completely paid? Let's see. Live. Control F, download. You need to buy it. Hmm. Let's see what happens if I click buy now. Base price is 99. That's for the basic, the intro package. 38 gigabytes of sounds, instruments and effects, and then 71 gigabytes. It's made to create fast music. Interesting. What about FL Studio? What do you think about that? Is that not as user friendly? It's not very easy. Interesting. What is this rent to own? Rent to own not available, only for the suite it's available. Hmm. I had one friend, like the only reason I know about FL Studio is because I had one friend who was like trying to get into DJing in college and he was using it. Uh, yeah, that's the only reason I know about it really. Yeah, yeah, I'll definitely check it out if they ever make a free version. Okay, no problem. Let's see. I hope one day Audacity gets to like a decent level as well. Let's clean this up. Removed unused link. Yeah, this is all fine. Let's get at least two changes in. Function returns by console considering. Wonder what the issues with this. Okay, let's just run it with this one change for now. That Vicious Bites, are you still on the track? How are things going with you? Yeah, everything's still running correctly. So I know it's not. How about you and camera? How do you remove this? Let me check the code for this. Delete and view file changes. So this is in the camera. No worries, man. I'm just glad you're joining us today. Yeah. What is this? Yeah. Movie camera hub, yeah, get position. It's in the camera HPP. Yeah, yeah. We'll follow along with the recommendations and issues here. What is place include file with vector. Friend class level. Yeah, no changes there. Let's see, what is this? Make member function const. Typo. No, this should be fine. Any other errors? Okay, all of this can be made const. Let's apply for all. Apply this. Apply this. And apply this. Let's save. Okay. I think I should allow one-liners, but I think this is better for the future. This makes it more lengthier. Let's check if all of this is still running. Sorry. Wait. Okay, everything's still running. Nothing is crashing. That's good. So Sweetheart's reduction, do you have some of your own music I can check out? Do you like upload it to YouTube or anything? Or are you just like working with different companies and making music for that? Let's see. Let's minimize this. What changes here? Corresponds. make it a constant, and yeah, that's it for this one. No issues on this. Let me close all these old ones. No issues here. Okay, no issues here either. Here, remove all. Let's play this. Let's play. Wonder if there's a way to like apply to all of them at once. I do sound design and game music, but I love to hear music like Sound U2 or metal stuff like this. If you want to hear something I made a while ago, you can check out SoundCloud. Sorry, if you were trying to send links, links are disabled in the chat just to prevent scams and stuff. There are quite a number of people who do that from time to time. Into let's say, yeah, what's your SoundCloud? I don't typically use SoundCloud, but my sister used to. I remember a long time ago she was excited one of her songs got like 1,000 views or something. Is it just your name? Sweet Drop Productions. Yes, Sweet Productions. Man, I haven't used this site in a long time. Is like a word getting detected by Twitch or something? Might be from the moderation. Oh, okay. Let's see. Dot, dot. Sweet Drop Production. Right, Google. Sweet Drops. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Is it fine if I play your music on stream? Or are you a bit shy about it? Like, thanks. Let's check it out. See, is the check have to log in. Let me I'll pause this, log in, and come back. Yeah. I'm back. I like it as well. I don't know if you just saw my pause screen, but I use pixel art a lot. I've definitely used it in work scenes as well. I do a lot of low poly stuff as well for work. Uh, I'm fine with it. One thing I'd suggest though, it's a bit hard to read with the yellow, sorry, the pink and like purple. I'd recommend like choosing something with a bit more contrasty colors so that way it's more legible, because a lot of people can like stop, uh, like they'll just skip it if the thumbnail is not good or whatever. Let's see. There's some spooky music. Skip ahead. That's nice for like a puzzle game with like a Halloween puzzle game or something. Let's see, is there a way to sort? Let's check this one out. Oh, this is fun. Your title descriptions are pretty spot on, I must say. Oh, nice. Which is like your most popular one? Can't find a way to sort. Say SoundCloud, sort, music, and most popular. Let's say sort players. That's from 9 years ago. Whoa. Let's say playlist. Oh, there's some sci-fi stuff. The one thing that's nice about music is like you can make a lot of it quite quickly. Like you can have final versions of films much more quickly. Come, like 2D art also has that benefit. 3D art, it's like you can, but like it depends. Like if you're just taking a photo, and yeah, you can do it quickly. If you're doing an animation, even for 2D art, it'll take quite a while. Let's see. How's this one song so soft? One thing I've learned while video editing and like adding songs to that, it's very important to have like relatively consistent volume. I've never touched 3D art. I'm glad I can make 2D. Yeah, 3D art isn't that bad. The main issue is like creating characters. Apart from that, I don't know. Like the thing with 3D art is you don't require your dexterity as much, which I personally find more intimidating. Like having to just rely on my hands to like make whatever. Uh, like with drawing, like if you want to draw a straight line, whatever, like on a paper, you really have to have a lot of practice to do that. Versus in 3D art, you don't necessarily require that. There's so many other tools. I know for 2D art with like digital art, and there are tools for that as well. Uh, yeah, it's just one of those things I have to get into after a while. Let's check this. Open world indie music. Yeah, it's just like one thing from what I've learned
Followed on Twitch.
during video editing is to normalize the audio so that it's like as loud as possible. Uh, Not as loud as possible, as like consistently loud. So one of the issues in video editing is like sometimes you might have one sound effect that's too soft and another sound effect that's too loud, and you kind of want to make them roughly equal. That is a thing called normalization. Uh, it's a thing, it's a computer science term. I don't know who decided to put that in the software, in like user interface software. But if you can, definitely try and make sure they all follow the same volume standards. Because right now I have to keep changing my volume up and down to match it. And one thing in games that you want a lot is like consistency. Game engines have a thing to like normalize it automatically, but it's always better if the raw file can be consistent as well. Because the way it does it in the engine might be too simple for what's required. Okay, let's get back into fixing these issues. It's not really fixing, it's more like cleaning things up. Convert to tooling tab. That's fine. Declaration shadow of a field. Not changed. Undo move definition auto script. Yeah. Okay, let's make this constant. Let's remove this. Wait, I was over here. I was. I'm so confused now. Yeah, this one was fine. This one is fine. This one is fine as well. Yeah, I guess I was here. I guess I'll leave this one. I guess they wanted to make this a separate function. Uh, this isn't urgent or anything. I have enough time. This is just something I'm doing just for the sake of learning. There's no specific deadline. Let's see, convert to Trinity. No. No definition out of scope. Okay, let's. Okay, I just made the function go outside. Okay, it added it as a function here. And then plot it here. Let me close this and open this again. Yeah, there are too many issues here. Yeah, let's just stick with this. Let's go here. This one is like the most mystical piece of code. Member function can be made const. Oh no. Const con. Oh, why is it keep doing that? Const. Okay. Let's hit play. Let's see how it goes. Let me update my title and finally code Lena. Update. Okay, everything is working. Okay, bye. See you sweet production. Hope you can join in on Monday as well. On the weekend, I'll be taking a break. I'll have to edit a video about this, put it out on my YouTube or something. I'll see. To also decide what my next project will be. Bye. Hope you enjoy your food. And let's right window. Yeah. So clean up header files. Push. Let's close all this. And let's clean this up. And let's clean these up. Parameter render pass can be made points. Actions. Render pass at const. Description set at const. Yeah, we're adding constant to all of these. Yeah. Okay, member function static. Can be made constant. Views values can be used. No, we'll keep it this way. But second, how did that keep disappearing? Convert to structured binder. No. Disable once with comment. Let's leave it. Let's see, auto explicit. And these can be ignored. Okay, where are these other errors? Let's see. It wants to use auto. Okay, fine. Okay, that's the same loop issue. Okay, yeah. Not constant. Let's see if this fixes things. Not fixes things, it doesn't break anything specifically. Spam this. Yeah, everything is still working fine. Nice. Yeah, simple render system. Remove unused. Apply it. And we can make the systems. Okay, that's cleaned up. And constant, constant, and constant. And the last one is just this. Let's hit play. Make sure there are no errors. It crashed. It crashed again. Let's see, third time is a charm. Okay, it's working. Okay, nice. Let's go here. Remove. Sort them. Let's sort all those. Any other issues in this? No, everything else is fine. Function can be made const. Up direction can be made const expression. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Yeah, let's hit run and check it out. Yeah, it's all still running. I'll just finish
Actual
the
links were
video.
only near the edges. Share
If
any we
there's
can come up with in
anything
the comments
left.
below or on our Discord. I'd love to see what you guys can come up with. Maybe I could do something like a showcase in a future video. Anyway, thank you for watching and keep on coding. Cheers.
Let's see, did he make like a community post or something about the series? No, he just stopped. Oh, hopefully we'll be back at some point in the future. Oh, no, buffer. What is that constant? Does this make it like read only or something? Okay, I'm not sure how much this can affect things, so I'll do it bit by bit. Okay, everything seems to be working. Uh, hmm. And constant. Pointer to const. Say C++, make variables constant, C11 wants to make variables constant. T constant instead of const here. Term tips to be productive in Sailor. How old is this? 2015. Use first, define later. Okay, that's snippets. Okay, templates are just snippets. Okay. Constant, constant. Yeah, that's done. Use auto. No, I also want to use auto instead of. No, let's stick to this. C-line instruction is preferred auto style. It can be replaced. No. Private instruction profile setting. Use preferred style auto. No. Enforce braces. What is CV qualify? Enforce the order of CV qualifies. C-line enforce CV qualifies. What is that? Can be used to locate inspection. What are CV qualifiers? C++. C and CV means const and V means volatile. Includes CV qualifiers. Non-CV qualified, CV qualified. Oh, interesting. Use the declaration style. Const. Constant on left side of comparison, constant on right side. That's potentially confusing code constructs. Negated if statements, negated conditional expression, nested conditional expression, nested function. Potentially undesirable code constructs. Constant naming convention, static constant. And I just change this. Edit. Use preferred. Now let's show and use auto. Let's see. Let's make this constant. Yeah. Add constant. Make this constant. Let's just run it first. Make sure everything's fine with this. Or should I do this one again? Okay, everything's still running correctly. Well, let's continue. See, apply, cline, apply, quick action to file. Deformat code. That's code cleanup. Say code completion. Analyze code. Rearrange code. No. Which one is it? tools, deployments, no. Reformat code, reformat file, nothing changed. Is there no way to like apply it? And constant and constant. Save. Okay, let's save all of this and hit play. Apply multiple quick actions. Let's see what this shows up. Quick tips. Okay, how to apply multiple. Alt and tool and arrow key. Okay, can try that for the next one.
Let's take a tour through some of the hyperproductivity.
Auto import, extract variable, code analysis, multiple courses, block comment time. No. Yeah, things are running. Yeah, now running with this. Let's stop it. Go here. Run inspection. Is this running the inspection? What changed? 10.5 FOU. Yeah, there's just a naming change. Let's see. Add constant file. Okay, let's verify everything. That required it. Okay, let's hit run. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, it's running. Everything is going fine. Let's go through this. Something we can do. And that doesn't need it. This one does. Now let's go here. Let's make this a new line, delete, save. And that's just some minor cleanup. Contains points out constant. So do it in the folder. I probably should have done just the file, but whatever. Okay, like almost all of them have changed because of this. So let's see. Is it still running? Sure. It's a building. Let's see. Can close all of these. Okay, it's running. Nice. Must can be one line, I think. No. Then let's make it on a separate line. And that can be ignored. And let's apply it to the folder. Save. Let's hit play. Okay, it's still running correctly. Nice. And it's the that's KV. Let's apply this as well. All of them can just directly be made constant. Plus, oh yeah, plus one. Okay, let's hit play first. Make sure nothing else took. How does the animation break sometimes? I'm talking about the stream animation. So I will be fine most of the time and then suddenly this breaks. No, everything is still fine. Constant. Hold on. What is remaining? Okay, that's a simple enough one. School success. Oh, look at this. It was at before. It was outside, now it's inside. Interesting. Let's hit play. Hmm. Okay, it's running. Harry says it still fine. Okay, cool. I was in descriptors. And this one has a lot. C-string, S-string, set unordered. Nice, unordered. Hmm. C-star cost is used instead of C++. Functional. Reinterpret. Let me see if I make this. Okay. That doesn't matter as much. Control S. Negate and fashion flip replace. No, we'll leave that. Condition is always true. Unreachable code. That's all fine. Always true. So the definitions by the order of declaration. Let's apply this for everything. Okay, that reduced. Big number of them. Make member function static and fold. That's always false. It's fine. Declaration and assignment can be joined. Okay. Not for all of them. Let's do it for all. Okay, let's type yeah. That was gone. Contains function can be used. Specific type. Make it inline. Save it. Anyway, I'll leave it like this, which is this one. Note structured bindings, not need. Sort declarations by the order of declarations. As crashing. That conditions always true. That's fine. This is fine. Control F, output. Auto. Save. And all of this. Let's keep this up here. Let's check problems. Can move this down here. Plan runnings. Shadow of a field. What's a shadow of a field? Unreachable code, unreachable code. That's fine. Let's see, OV device. Minimize this. We added the constant term. Sort and regroup. Specialization of std dash hash does not have any no except specification. Okay, let's leave that. Let's run. Everything is still running correctly. For I just applied whatever can. Okay. If those areas got applied, move to MS scope, convert to structure bind and now. What else is up here? Hmm. Oh, we're doing the template thing anyway, so yeah, should be fine, I guess. Control S, let's play. Okay, it's loading correctly. And we saw everything is fine. Let's sort it. And we sort and regroup. That's fine. And this one, everything is fine. I just reorder that. So we'll sort and regroup. Simple. Descriptors, device, game object, model, yeah. Close all of these. Pipeline, nothing is there, render. Control A, like let's re-indent, auto indent. Simply this to a new line. Even after that, it does this. It's much until save. Now let's see any other issues. What is this one? Yeah, not swam. Is it not sorted? Is it sorted? Rename parameters from extent to window extent. Parameter previous is copy. Counts expression. That's how you capabilities formats. I'll leave that there. No need for a structured binding thing. Declaration of shadow fields. Declaration shadows a field of a view. Option, no idea. Yeah, I'll leave that. ST. Parameter name is copied. Use static cost. It's just a view. And save. Remove. Sort and regroup. ST. All of these have been cleaned up. Let's set play and check if everything is still working. Yeah, a lot of scripts have changed. Everything's still working. Let's save this. Clean up source files. Let and push. Review to do. Okay, commit and push. Yeah, pushing all of that. Let's go back to headers and do sorting for this. Sort include. Let me see any other issues to be addressed. Okay, let's. Okay, that's already sorted. Let's close all of these. Array buffer is fine. No, camera is fine. That's okay, it's already sorted. And what is this? Now let's hit run. See if anything changes with this. Okay, it's also working correctly. What errors are here? Research. Folder. Let's apply this. Only over here it has these const functions. Okay, everything is working. And that's fixed. And it holds fine. Now the changes here. Steve. Nothing else is here. And that's sorted. Now the show is this the shadow. Supply this for the folder. Alright. That can be left alone. Now somewhere that had like a spelling mistake of memory. Was it under buffer? Was it perhaps under device? Let's see. Is it here? No. Yeah. Depth and measurement is. Okay. Alright. Let's play. Hmm. Oh, this is getting fixed. I mean, built here. Okay, that's done. Sort hash includes and header files. Oh gosh. So, yeah. Each time I do it, I keep getting that error. I check commander for fence before this move. How do I know where this is activated? Buffer. Okay, I have no idea how to fix this. So I'll leave it like that. So, okay, I think we're done this project at last. Okay, so definitions by the order of the declarations. I'll just check this for all of them. Info. I just have this light for everything correctly. Okay, these are the ones with issues. Or what in here? That seems like this area also got readjusted. Control off, auto. Control F. F. Let's make sure there's no autos anywhere. Control H. Let's see, edit, find the files, auto, directory. What is the shortcut for this? Control Shift. Okay. And let's put this on another line. Control F. That's for explicit. Let's make there's an issue here. Save it. Okay, we go on and swap chain. Control Shift F, auto. Specify type explicit. Okay, nothing in there, nothing in this. Okay, cool. Okay, I think that is all the changes. And let's close all of these. Let's go to the shaders. On that flag. Okay, it's all fine. Sort functions to match the header file order. Put and push. Push. Okay. Okay, at last, I think this function is done. This project is done. So before we leave, let's play some chess. Maybe I can close this. Yeah. Let's play again. Let's protect this. Let's protect it this way. Ah, let's bring this here. Can defend you at least. Hmm. Hmm. I really messed this one up. Hmm. We'll attack that next. Is there anything I can bring you apart from the queen? Let's bring this here. And this here. Check. Let's take this. Come back up. Hmm. Should have captured with my knight. But whatever. Block this. Let's capture this beacon with pawn structure. Hmm. So here. Castle. If we have check, we'll move down. Nothing protecting. Let's bring this forward. Hmm. Let's attack this. Hmm. Let's bring this here. Hmm. Let's take that. Check. Hmm. So, let's move the spawn forward. Fake captures, I get the look. Uh, hmm. Messed it up. Hmm. What did I? Hmm. So bring this here. Let's attack this. Oh yeah. Check. Can't believe I won that. Okay. Anyways, let's end stream here. I'll see all of you all on Monday.